Okay, let's unpack this. We're doing a deep dive today into a really specific moment.
Right. Based on the source material we have.
Exactly. It's this White House meeting from May between President Trump and South African President Ramaphosa.
Yep.
And our mission here is really just to understand what the source says happened in that room, focusing on one key exchange.
And what's fascinating right off the bat from this source is how it wasn't your standard diplomatic chat. Not at all.
How so?
Well, the source describes President Trump basically launching into this direct challenge
The challenge about what?
about claims, serious claims regarding alleged violence against white South Africans, a supposed genocide.
And the source uses pretty strong language, doesn't it? It
Yeah.
mentions Trump kind of ambushing Ramaphosa.
It does use that word ambushed.
Yeah.
And to back it up, the source says Trump actually played videos.
Videos in the Oval Office.
Yeah, videos he claimed were proof of this genocide.
Wow. Does the source say what was in these videos?
He gives some specifics. One reportedly showed an opposition politician singing a song.
Okay.
And the source notes that some people say this song evokes violence towards white South Africans. It also mentions photos.
Photos, too.
Photos of white people Trump apparently said had been murdered. So very graphic, very direct evidence being presented.
That sounds incredibly intense for a diplomatic meeting. An ambush with videos and photos. What did Ramaphosa do? How did he react, according to the source?
Well, the source lays out a few parts to his response. First up, it says he condemned the specific content of that video with the song.
Okay, so he addressed that directly.
Yes, but then he also broadened it out, explained that South Africa has a constitution, protects free expression,
Like giving the legal context.
And he also apparently made the point that, yes, violent crime is sadly a reality in South Africa, but it affects everyone, people of all races.
That seems like a crucial clarification, addressing the specific claim, but also pushing back on the framing, sort of.
Exactly. And there's another detail the source mentions about Ramaphosa's approach to the meeting itself.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
He actually brought guests, white South African golfers.
Golfers. To the White House meeting. Why? Does the source say?
It doesn't explicitly state his motive, but you could infer it was maybe a way to visually present a different side of South Africa, counter the narrative, perhaps.
Interesting. And wasn't there another notable figure in the room?
Yes, the source points out Elon Musk was there too.
Trump's advisor at the time and South African born.
That's the one. Adds another dimension, doesn't it?
Definitely. So you have this ambush, the videos, the photos, Ramaphosa's response, mixing condemnation and context, the golfers, Elon Musk. Quite a scene.
A very unusual dynamic described.
So after all that, how did Ramaphosa feel leaving the White House? What does the source tell us about his perspective?
It's quite interesting, actually. The source quotes him saying he thought the meeting went well.
Went well after being ambushed.
Apparently so. And maybe the most surprising part. The source says Ramaphosa felt Trump still had some doubts.
Doubts about the genocide claims, even after showing the videos and photos.
That's what the source indicates Ramaphosa perceived, that Trump wasn't fully convinced, that there were still questions in his mind.
Huh. That's unexpected. You'd think presenting that kind of evidence would lead to a firm conclusion in the presenter's mind.
Well, it shows the complexity, right? Even in a situation described so starkly, the takeaway wasn't necessarily clear-cut, at least from Ramaphosa's reported perspective.
So, stepping back, what does this specific incident, as laid out in the source, tell us? This way of presenting claims, the evidence used.
I think it really highlights the challenges, navigating these incredibly sensitive topics on the world stage, especially when you have these sorts of direct, perhaps even media-influenced confrontations meeting traditional diplomacy.
Yeah, that intersection is really something. It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Definitely.
What does this particular meeting, the specific way claims and evidence were reportedly presented and handled, suggest to you about how these tough conversations happen or maybe should happen globally, something to mull over?